Get instant access to your winnings with Cashcard Plus, Paddy's brand new card, available to use at ATMs, online or in shops. TNCs apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.co.uk.
You're both listening and watching the Racing Post Football Postcast. I'm Dave Clark, joined by colleagues Mark Langdon, Ian Wilkinson and Ed Quigley from our friends at Paddy Power on the line. We're going to look at Sunday's games now, and Mill versus Watford. Ed, how did Paddy Power price this one?
Yeah, so Millwall are 2-1, the draw is 12-5, and Watford are 11-8. Yeah, Millwall are definitely taking this cup seriously. They hammered Bournemouth in the last round, fielded their first team, and they're also starting to turn around. Their league form was absolute. Like, I've backed them for League One at the start of the season because they're very highly rated in Asia, and it wasn't really reflected in their outright prices. So there was a bit of value there, but they had an atrocious December, and I think there was another month where they were really poor as well. Watford are also taking it very seriously. They played a strong team in the last round too. I just think Watford Watford are 11-8. To me, that's just a little bit big, and I'd be backing Watford here at 11-8. Would be my bet, yeah.
Ian Wilkinson, for you?
Yeah, I'd agree with Ed. Millwall, they've won their last four at home, including that game against a much weakened Bournemouth in the last round. But there's a big difference between playing a League One team and playing a Premier League team, and I think Watford are the sort of team with the physical ability to cope with the demands of a trip to the Den. They're not playing, although they have picked up recently, they are not playing one of the leading lights in the league in the third tier. And although Burton are the only team that Watford have beaten in their last 9 games, I think if they have their eye on their ball, that they can oblige in this one. I'd be backing them at 11-8.
Langer, how do we assess Watford's form coming into this one? Pegged back twice by Bournemouth, I think 1 win in 8 now.
Yeah, I mean, they had a real major injury crisis, didn't they, over Christmas, which is probably the worst time to get it. There's like you play 4 matches or whatever, and if you're not in the right shape and you can't rotate, and the games are coming every 2 or 3 days, and you just keep losing, you slip down the table. I mean, whenever I watch Watford, I'm not impressed with them at all. I'm struggling to remember a time when, or was maybe against Everton, they did all right, to come back there. But
they gave West Ham a good hiding as well. They're one of a few teams to do that at the start.
On TV, they've not really. I remember Crystal Palace. I mean, Palace are awful, and Palace outplayed them at the Vic, didn't they? I was looking at both teams to score. And Watford have obviously got a lot of power up front. Deeney, particularly sort of used to playing at this level as well. A trip to the Den's not going to scare him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been around the block long enough, and I think he'll sort of drill into the rest of the team what's required and what's coming. But Millwall are very decent up front. I think that they can score. So I'm going to go both teams to score. Watford have only kept 2 clean sheets in their 11 away matches. This is obviously a drop down in class, but Ed mentioned sort of Millwall's terrible run of a couple of months ago. They were missing at that time Gregory and Morrison, which is basically Millwall. You take them 2 out, and they've picked up since the return of those 2 very powerful front men. So maybe Watford to win and both teams to score if you're looking to really push out the price, but I'll just play a bit safer. Both teams to score.
Okay, right. Ed Quigley of Paddy Power. Will the fairy tale for Sutton United live on into Sunday as they host Leeds United, playing on an artificial pitch as well? Do we see that as a factor?
Sutton are 4-1. The draw is 11-4, and Leeds are 8-13. To be honest, I was prepping for this podcast last night, and I was kind of feeling tired. It was late, and I was like, I was just going to write down Leeds to win and just be lazy. But then professionalism kicked in, and I dug a bit deeper and started looking at Sutton's home form.
Went for Leeds to win.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. There might be something there, right? I went through Sutton's home form. It's actually unbelievable. Like they've only lost 3 of their 20 home matches this season in all comps, so the artificial pitch must be working. I think Leeds will. I remember doing the last podcast in the FA Cup, and they were playing Oxford United, and we had to wait for the team news that time. I think Leeds will feel a pretty similar side to the they got out of jail that night, because they were up against it for a spell. I think I'm going to go with. I think Sutton will cause them problems, and. I think time of first goal after the 26th minute of 10-11 could be a bet. And there's also, I don't anticipate Chris Wood to play, but if he does, like this guy's on fire. Like he's 16-5 for first goal. Should he start? And that's a definite bet. He's open to scoring in Leeds' last 3 games and has 5 goals in his last 4. He's also 4-5 anytime too. So that'd be a cracking bet too if he does start.
Nango, the FA Cup been synonymous with sort of lower league teams hosting the bigger teams and the sort of pitch being a leveller in the state of it. But how do we assess an artificial pitch? Much of a difference?
I think a lot of it these days is psychological because I mean it's not like the QPR and Luton.
You won't remember the QPR pitch.
No, I mean it's not like the plastic pitches of before, but it's. I do think there is a psychological thing for teams when they go there that. They're almost half beaten before they've turned up. Leeds have got a very big match coming up on Wednesday, Blackburn away. I mean, they're absolutely flying in the Championship at the moment. If anybody's going to catch Brighton or Newcastle, it will be Leeds. I mean, the fans are right with them at this stage. I was looking at Antonsen to score first. I don't think Chris Wood will play, so I'm expecting him to come in. I mean, he got the first goal at Fleetwood earlier on in the League Cup. He was absolutely rampant in Swedish football. He's not really, because of the form of Wood, it's difficult for him to get in at the moment. I've not looked into it any deeper, but I was considering the fact that he's played in Sweden and in Scandinavian. If anybody's got sort of maybe some experience on an artificial 3G pitch, could well be him because they do have a lot of them out there because of the weather. So with that in mind, I was going for him to score the first goal. Interestingly, that Sutton are quite well liked in Asia, probably because of their pitch. So they were very well backed. I think it was against Cheltenham earlier on in the competition. Certainly even before that. So I think it's going to be an interesting game. And I'm just hoping Antonsen can get the start and then get the goal.
Very interesting line there, Mark Langdon. The best in the business, Wilco, for you?
No team is going to want to get knocked out by a non-league team in the FA Cup. I can't believe that Leeds are not going to be on the ball for this game. The pitch, I don't know whether it will be as great a factor as people think there.
I can see on your page, your first line, dream dies. That's a bit strong.
Well, I said earlier that I didn't have a lot of, I'm a bit of a misery guts when it comes to the FA Cup, and this is just the sort of game that gets my eye. But I think that the pitch won't be as much, probably not be as much as a factor as perhaps people are placing it. I did notice that Sutton played. They had an FA Trophy replay on Tuesday, which went to extra time. That could play a factor because they're obviously going to be playing at a pace that is a lot quicker than they used to be. They're used to playing. It's obviously a massive game, and the crowd will be up for it, and all those. It ticks all the boxes for a great afternoon out on BT Sport, but not for me. I'm gonna be a misery and say back Leeds at 4-6.
Misery guts, Wilco. Right, a much more familiar venue would be Old Trafford, the venue for Manchester United and Wigan. The 4 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. Ed Quigley, Paddy Power, prices please.
Yeah, so United are 2-11, the draw is 13-2, and Wigan are 14-1. I actually think United look too big here, which you don't say too often about a 2-11 shot. Wigan have only won 3 of their 15 away games all season. I think United will obviously make changes, but the players coming in, they've such squad depth that are quality. I went with United -2 against Reading in the last round, and I'll go with it again here at 7-5. Rooney, Rashford both appeal as first goal scorer bets because I don't expect Zlatan to start as well. They're both 3-1, so Dutch, that's even money. That'll be a bet should Zlatan definitely not start.
Interesting one, that one. Dutch in the 2 forwards. Wilco, for you?
It's nice to get the opportunity to watch Manchester United in the FA Cup.
50 odd not
yeah,
out,
it only goes back to sort of Bobby Charlton's debut against Burnley, I think. This is. This is a game for sort of like TV viewing figures rather than anything else. Wigan struggling in the Championship. It's difficult to see them doing anything but that at Old Trafford. Mourinho's got a bit of an affinity for the Cup. I don't think he'll hold back. And like Ed suggests, it looks like a game made for Manchester United's new record goal scorer to notch first. So I'd be backing Rooney at 3-1 if I'm not eating my dinner or not watching a game.
Mark Langdon, for you?
Yeah, I was looking at United to win to 0. I mean, the United have got Hull at home in midweek in the Premier League. So, I mean, I don't know. Mourinho may not feel it's that desperate to rest everybody. Anyway, I mean, it depends you probably won't want to rest them for too long. So those that don't play on Thursday may well get a run out here on Sunday. I don't think it really matters. They've got such depth. If you're bringing in Rooney, Rashford, Mata, players of that sort of ilk, is going to be too much for Wigan, managed by the former United reserve coach Warren Joyce, who's actually got a slight reaction in last. They've won their last 3 matches. 2 of those though were against massive strugglers in Forest and Burton, awful in the Championship. The other was against Brentford, who are sort of average Championship team. No, United to win to 0. It's almost impossible for him to put out a weakened team. He never sort of picks 5 or 6 youngsters you've never heard of. There's always sort of a method to sort of behind him wanting to pick players to play. And even if you've got ones like Luke Shaw coming in, I mean, that's not a bad thing, is it? I was sort of thinking, what's the worst case scenario? You got like Romero in goal, probably Fosu Mensah at right back, Luke Shaw at left back, and somebody like Fellaini in midfield. I mean, it's not bad, is it? I think it'd be way too much for Wigan United to win to 0.
What price is that, Ed, to win to 0?
It's 5 to 6.
5 to 6. So I think I'll be having a couple of quid on that. Mourinho doesn't like to concede many. Right, we've got a whole host of Premier League fixtures next week as well. Does anything catch the eye, gents? Wilco?
I think Chelsea will win at Anfield. Okay. I think they're looking the real deal. Liverpool, it's plain that they're having a bit of a wobble. Not scoring goals, looking shaky at the back. I think Conte's team can exploit both of those, and I fancy them to win at Anfield.
One hand on that Premier League trophy already for some, Mark Langdon. Should they come through Anfield with 3 points, probably game over, is it?
I wouldn't say game over. I mean, I think if they get sort of 4 from the next 2, Liverpool and Arsenal, then it possibly is. But I mean, we've seen teams collapse from bigger leads than this, and they've not got one team chasing them; they've got 4 or 5. I mean, I'm not declaring it all over
it's
just
not
yet.
Over yet just yet.
No, I mean, I'm going to disagree with Wilco. I like Liverpool in this game purely because the games that Chelsea have lost were against teams that pressed the hell out of them. I was going to say something else there, but when they pressed the hell out of them, Spurs did it to them at White Hart Lane, Arsenal did it to them at the Emirates, and Liverpool did it to them at Stamford Bridge. Now, Liverpool were playing better then than they are now. I just wonder about Chelsea's ability. That when like Matic plays in midfield, they're a little bit sluggish in there, and I just think that if Liverpool are really at it, like they were when they beat Man City and when they won away at Arsenal, and they've drawn a couple of times with Manchester United, if they're on sort of full speed and play at a high tempo, I wonder if it might catch Chelsea out. Not a great betting heat, but I just thought Liverpool for me.
It's Tuesday night, that game. Quickly, how did Paddy Power price that one up?
Yeah, Liverpool are 6 to 4. The draw is 23 to 10, and Chelsea are 9 to 5. I actually fancy the unders in that game myself, 10 to 11. If you look at Liverpool's games against kind of the Grade A opposition in the league, they've all gone under 2.5 nearly. I think they might have all gone.
It was only the Arsenal game, wasn't it, when Holding and Chambers were centre half for Arsenal?
Yeah,
that doesn't count.
That was the first weekend of the season as well. Exactly. So I think the unders are a cracking bet there.
That'll be a washout.
Yeah.
I just think Chelsea will just shut up shop and hope to get a point. I'd say almost they might catch them in the break and beat them, because Liverpool will be coming at them to try and get a result because they obviously need it. But I know the unders for me at 10 to 11 there.
Anything else catch the eye in the?
I also like Burnley at home to Leicester at 17 to 10. I just Burnley have one of the best home records in the league. It's what's going to keep them up. Well, it looks like it's what's going to keep them up anyway. And Leicester have the second worst away record in the league, so it just makes sense to me.
Excellent stuff. Hopefully the guys' input has perked up your thoughts for the FA Cup weekend ahead. We've got plenty of Premier League action as well on Tuesday and Wednesday. Join us again next Thursday, for yet another Racing Post Football Postcast.
The Football Postcast in association with Paddy Power, the place to bet on football in play with a huge special every weekend.